Welcome to True Echo, where powerful stories meet raw truth. Today's story begins with a traffic stop, but what follows shatters every assumption. A black woman is handcuffed by police, her ID questioned, her authority doubted. But just when the officers think they've caught a fraud, black SUVs pull up, and everything they believed is ripped apart. Stay with us as we uncover a mission buried in secrecy, betrayal inside the system, and a CIA agent who turns a wrongful arrest into a takedown that shocks an entire town. The Virginia sky was streaked with hues of burnt orange as the sun dipped below the horizon. It was supposed to be another quiet evening in Reston, the kind where patrol officers eased into cruise mode and suburban roads blurred into monotony. Officer Ryan Donnelly had been on the force for 10 years, and a busted taillight barely registered as a blip on his radar. When he pulled in behind the black SUV at the corner of King Street and Broadmoor, he wasn't expecting trouble. Just a routine stop. Quick conversation, maybe a warning, then back on patrol. But as he approached the tinted window, something shifted. The glass rolled down halfway, revealing a black woman in her late 30s, chin-length box braids, dark blue blazer, still as stone. No music playing. No fumbling. Just an unreadable calm and a leather wallet already extended in her hand. "License and registration, please," Ryan said. She responded in a voice smooth and neutral. "Talia Monroe." Her ID didn't look fake, but it also didn't look familiar. A badge, a seal, some letters he couldn't immediately decode. Federal? Maybe. Homeland Security? Secret Service? It didn't match anything he'd seen. He flipped it open again, squinting. "This some kind of joke?" he asked without thinking. "It's legitimate," she replied, unfazed. "I'm not at liberty to disclose the agency." That rubbed him the wrong way. The badge didn't say CIA or FBI. She didn't act flustered or defensive. Instead, she stared ahead, emotionless. Too calm. Back at his cruiser, Ryan radioed for backup. Just in case. A woman with a mysterious ID and an unreadable demeanor made the hair on his neck stand up, not because she seemed dangerous, but because she didn't seem worried. That scared him more. Within minutes, another patrol car pulled up. Two rookies got out, young, uncertain. They stayed behind Ryan as he walked back to the SUV. "I need you to step out of the vehicle," he said. Without protest, Talia complied. No sudden moves. No questions. Just a quiet sigh and the click of her seatbelt. One of the rookies stepped forward. "I'm going to have to place you in cuffs for now. Until we verify who you are." "You're making a mistake," she said softly. "You can explain that at the station." Phones were already coming out. A crowd was forming, casual pedestrians drawn in by the sight of a woman being cuffed. A teenager in a red hoodie yelled, "Yo, y'all really cuffing her for a broken light?" Ryan felt his authority slipping in the weight of that gaze. Still, he moved through the routine. But when one of the rookies reached out to pat her down, Talia's voice changed slightly. "I wouldn't do that." "Why not?" the rookie asked, pausing mid-step. "Because if you put your hands on me, you might trigger a response you can't walk back from." The moment froze. And that's when the sound came. Two black SUVs, silent, fast, deliberate, skidded to a stop half a block down. Four men stepped out in black suits, eyes locked on Talia. One of them, tall, commanding, flashed a badge. "Federal Protective Service. That woman is in our custody. Release her immediately." Ryan stepped forward, instincts flaring. "We haven't confirmed her identity. Until we do, she stays detained." The tall man didn't blink. "You're standing on the edge of a serious federal incident, Officer Donnelly. Let her go." And then something even more unnerving happened. One of the agents scanned her ID with a thick device that looked like a military phone. It beeped once. Bright green. The agent nodded. Confirmed. Ryan's throat dried. Who are you people? He asked. She works for people who don't carry business cards, the tall man said flatly. Talia didn't move. She stood as she had from the beginning, calm, centered, observing everything. One of the rookies stepped forward and unlocked her cuffs without saying a word. Officer Donnelly, the agent said, voice low, you just pulled an active CIA agent out of deep cover. You almost compromised a year-long operation because you didn't recognize a badge. Ryan took a step back, disoriented. His radio crackled, dispatch stammering. We're getting a ping on her ID now. Secure channel. Wait, oh, scratch that. Verified. Too late. Talia turned slightly, and for the first time, she looked directly at him. This didn't have to go this way. Before Ryan could respond, Talia's eyes scanned the sidewalk. Her voice dropped to a whisper as she tilted her wrist slightly toward her smartwatch. Target acquired. The agent beside her spun in the direction she was looking. A man in a baseball cap and zipped-up hoodie was lingering at the back of the crowd. Not filming. Not talking. Just watching. He turned and bolted. One of the federal agents gave chase. Ryan stood frozen. Who the hell was that? Talia replied, someone who wasn't supposed to know I was in town. The chase ended quickly. The suspect was tackled, bleeding, cuffed. A wire was found under his hoodie, no microphone, just a tracker. They were watching for me, Talia said grimly. That stop wasn't random. They baited me. She looked at the rookie who had cuffed her. Then at his belt radio. Then away. The message was clear, this wasn't just incompetence. This was betrayal. She had been set up. And now, she was going to find out who had done it. The precinct on Ashburn Road buzzed with the low murmur of routine paperwork and tired officers. But when Talia Monroe walked through the glass doors alone, no SUVs, no backup, no media, every sound in the building seemed to stutter. She didn't make a show of it. She didn't need to. Her presence alone carried the weight of authority, experience, and something far heavier, intent. The desk officer blinked up at her. Can I help you, ma'am? She didn't stop walking. Internal audit. Secure the floor. Her badge flashed just once, laminated, official, unchallenged. Within 5 minutes, the whispers spread like brushfire. Officer Donnelly sat in the break room nursing a half-eaten burrito when another officer burst in. She's here, he said. Ryan stood up slowly. Monroe. Yeah. Walked in like she owns the place. Command says to cooperate. Ryan shoved the burrito aside, suddenly less hungry. Meanwhile, Talia was already in the precinct's internal server room. She held up a secure key card, and the lock blinked green. The door clicked open. Inside, the hum of machines greeted her like old friends. She plugged in a drive, fingers moving with surgical precision. This wasn't about punishment, it was about traceability. Whoever fed her route to hostile actors had left a digital fingerprint. Somewhere. Outside the server room, Ryan finally caught up to her. You just walk in like it's your house now, he asked. I don't have time to explain the entire chain of command to you. He blocked her path. I deserve to know what's going on. She looked at him, face unreadable. You nearly tanked a national security op. You want a memo? That's not fair, I was doing my job. No, she said flatly, you were doing what you thought your job was. There's a difference. They locked eyes. For a moment, the tension was unbearable. Then her voice softened, barely. When I gave you my ID, you didn't think it was fake because the scanner failed. You thought it was fake because you couldn't picture someone like me carrying it. Ryan opened his mouth but didn't speak. I'm not here to fix that, she added. I'm here to find the leak. And right then, as if summoned by fate, Deputy Chase Lorne stepped into the hallway. He looked freshly shaved, uniform crisp, too crisp for someone working nights. His eyes landed on Talia with a flicker of recognition, and something darker. "Well, well," he said. "The ghost walks among us." Ryan turned. "You two know each other?" Talia didn't blink. "He worked with me once. Overseas. Brief op. Then he disappeared mid-mission." Chase smirked. "Disappeared? That's your version. You walked away with a phone full of encrypted contacts and left 3 bodies in a safe house." Ryan's jaw tightened. "He was CIA." "Not anymore," Talia said coldly. Chase's eyes flicked toward her wrist. "You still wear that watch? That trick still work? You'd be surprised what hasn't changed." He stepped closer. "So what now? You gonna play hero in my precinct?" "I came for one reason," she said. From her coat, she pulled out a small device and pressed play. Chase's voice echoed from the speaker, distorted but undeniable. "She leaves that drop point by 7:10. Always the same route. I can guarantee it." Ryan's expression darkened. Chase didn't flinch, until Talia said, "You tapped the signal this morning. You've been leaking intel for months." Chase laughed once, dry and defensive, then lunged. Ryan moved first, tackling him into the wall. Chairs clattered. Talia didn't flinch. She stepped forward and calmly pulled her badge again. "Chase Lorne, you're under arrest for treason, unauthorized foreign collaboration, and obstruction of a federal investigation." By the time 2 more officers rushed in to restrain him, Chase was shouting threats, face twisted in rage. But Talia didn't move. Didn't blink. Because Chase was never the target. He was the thread. And she had just started pulling. The cell door clanged shut with a mechanical finality that cut through even Chase's snarling bravado. Talia stood on the other side of the bars, arms crossed, her gaze unwavering. Chase paced like a man still trying to convince himself he hadn't lost. "You think this ends with me?" he barked. "You think you've won something?" Talia didn't answer right away. She took a deliberate step forward, her voice low and precise. "You're not my endgame, Chase. You were just the decoy." He stopped. Confused. Off balance. Exactly where she wanted him. What's that supposed to mean? She looked past him, like the steel bars between them didn't exist. "The man in the hoodie? The one who followed me? He wasn't there by accident. He was placed. You leaked my route, but you gave them an old photo. Before I cut my hair." That made him flinch. "You didn't know what I looked like now," she continued. "Which tells me something very important, you're not the one pulling the strings." Chase's breath caught, just for a second. "You'll never trace it. You think you've got the whole thread, you don't even have the needle." Talia tilted her head, studying him. "You're a good liar, Chase. But you're not good enough. You've been fed instructions. You don't even know by who. And the man you delivered me to? He had something on him. A device. Tracker, not audio. That means one thing, surveillance." She turned and walked away, her heels echoing with authority. Outside the holding block, Officer Donnelly was waiting, his arms folded, jaw clenched. "So he was one of yours," he said. "The betrayal was internal." "No," Talia said. "He was one of theirs, pretending to be one of mine." Ryan rubbed his face. "Why didn't our system flag him? You'd be surprised how long a clean badge and a few months of silence can hide someone. Chase disappeared long enough for us to assume he was dead, or flipped. Now we know. So what now? We keep digging." Back in the evidence room, Talia retrieved the small case from her SUV, the one agents had found during the stop. This time, Ryan watched as she opened it. Photos, satellite images, coordinates, stills from surveillance, dozens of files connected by red string logic and faces that all led to one man. "This is who I was tracking," she said, pointing to the same face in every folder. "Name unknown. Goes by Asher. Career freelancer. Moves data, weapons, people. No ideology. Just high-end contracts." Ryan leaned in. Why was he here? Good question. He doesn't waste time in towns like Reston unless there's a reason. She flipped open another folder. The man who met him. City planner. Arthur Vexley. He handed off a small envelope. Paper. Credentials. Unknown. But here's the important part, Vexley has access to every digital infrastructure node in Fairfax County. Traffic systems, public building layouts, security controls. Ryan's eyes widened. You think he was leaking data? I think someone used Chase to expose me while the real transfer happened in the background. She tapped a map on her laptop. 3 facilities had power anomalies last week, a data center, a federal courthouse, and a city communication hub. All under Vexley's jurisdiction. All connected by the same contractor, Thermax Solutions. That's a federal supplier, Ryan said. We use them for light sensors. And if you compromise one Thermax node, she said, you can hop through department systems, including law enforcement. Ryan went silent. Talia checked the time. If they planned it right, the actual transfer is happening in the next 2 hours. He straightened. Where do we go? You don't, she replied. This falls outside your jurisdiction. He blocked the door. You're not going in alone. I can help. I don't need backup. I'm not backup, he said. I'm a witness. This department already failed you once. I won't let it happen again. Talia studied him. Then handed him a pouch. There's a vest in there. You'll need it. Neither of them said it out loud, but both knew, they were heading into a place where wrong moves didn't come with paperwork, they came with body bags. The air in the maintenance tunnel off Frying Pan Road felt different, like something left over from another era. Cold War steel, concrete sweat, and forgotten fear. The entrance was unmarked. Forgotten by most. But not by Talia Monroe. She moved quickly, flashlight clipped to her collar. Every step she took was deliberate. Focused. Behind her, Officer Ryan Donnelly followed in silence, his Kevlar vest snug beneath his uniform, tension hanging between his shoulders like weight. Keep your eyes on the corners, she said. Asher moves quiet. Ryan nodded. He was already sweating, not from heat, but from anticipation. He'd been in shootouts, seen friends injured, but this was different. This was deeper. Older. A different kind of war. 50 yards in, they hit a junction. And standing there, as if he'd expected them all along, was Asher. Mid-40s. Olive skin. Leather jacket. A silver case clutched in one hand. You're early, he said, almost casual. You're sloppy, Talia replied. A hint of a smirk crossed his face. You were always good with words. Better with guns. Are you carrying tonight? Ryan's hand drifted toward his sidearm, but Talia made no move. She stared at Asher, calculating. I want the case. Asher raised an eyebrow. You think I came all this way just to hand it over? You came all this way to live. Those are 2 different things. Above them, a faint clang echoed, a storm grate being sealed shut. Talia turned her head slightly. You bring someone? Asher shrugged. The broker. Doesn't like being seen. A voice echoed through the tunnel behind them. Deep, calm, too confident. You've already lost, Monroe. Ryan spun toward the voice. Another figure stepped into view. Arthur Vexley. Disheveled. Gun in hand. Sweat staining his collar. I used to admire your work, Vexley said, stepping closer. You stayed invisible longer than anyone I ever tracked. And now you're standing in a sewer with a gun and a dream, Talia replied. Tell me how that's going. You think this ends in gunfire, he smirked. No. This ends in silence. With your file buried under 10 layers of red tape. You're leaking agent movements to foreign networks, she said calmly. That case doesn't hold money. It holds credentials. If it gets out, 6 field agents go dark by sunrise. Asher's expression shifted. You didn't know, she said to him. They lied to you. You thought you were moving paper. You're carrying names. His jaw tensed. That wasn't the deal. You think they'll let you walk after this? Vexley growled. She's bluffing. No, Asher said softly. She's not. And in one motion, Asher turned and slammed the silver case into Vexley's ribs. The man collapsed, wheezing, dropping the gun. Talia lunged, grabbed the case, and kicked the weapon away. Asher raised both hands. I never agreed to kill anyone. I was told it was clean. You just chose survival, Talia said. That doesn't make you innocent. He nodded once. But I'm not your enemy. She didn't reply. Ryan radioed in, voice tight. Requesting immediate containment. Knox Boulevard access tunnel. Subject in custody. Repeat, 2 subjects. Vexley groaned on the floor, blood pooling under his jacket. Talia stood over him. You know what the worst part is? Ryan looked at her, confused. This wasn't supposed to happen here, she said. This was supposed to be quiet. A clean handoff. Now a city's going to wake up to questions it's not ready to answer. And somewhere above their heads, the first headlines were already forming. By the time dawn crept over the rooftops of Reston, the courthouse district was already on lockdown. Federal sedans replaced patrol cruisers. Agents in plain clothes whispered through earpieces. The media hadn't caught up yet, but it wouldn't take long. Inside a sealed federal annex on the outskirts of town, Talia sat across from 2 stone-faced officials. One from counterintelligence. The other from the Department of Justice. Both wore suits that looked like they'd been ironed by fear. You broke protocol, the first said, flipping through a file. Compromised a covert operation. Coordinated with local law enforcement without clearance. Talia leaned forward. I also recovered an active access key to classified personnel networks, neutralized 2 domestic threats, and exposed an embedded traitor within municipal infrastructure. Silence. The second man cleared his throat and adjusted his glasses. We've reviewed the footage, body cams, precinct surveillance, and your smartwatch records. He looked up, voice more subdued. You were right. Talia didn't nod. She never did when she already knew. Outside, in the annex lobby, Ryan Donnelly sat on a bench with a cold coffee in his hands. He hadn't slept. Couldn't. His shift had ended hours ago, but the echoes of everything he'd seen refused to let him go. When Talia stepped out, he stood immediately. They read you the riot act. They tried. He studied her. So, what happens now? They'll clean it up. Label it a local misunderstanding. Sanitize the reports. Reassign Vexley's clearance logs. Disappear Asher into a black site. And you? She paused. My face is burned here. I'll be reassigned. Somewhere else. He shifted uncomfortably. I know I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm sorry. For the stop. For doubting you. She looked at him, unreadable. You made a bad call. But you didn't double down on it. That matters. He swallowed. You could have been killed. But I wasn't. And maybe now, someone else won't be. They stepped outside just as the sun sliced through the city's skyline, casting long golden beams across the quiet asphalt. Across town, a video was spreading. The teenager in the red hoodie had posted it the night before, a black woman, handcuffed, calm, surrounded by cops. Then, black SUVs, federal agents, chaos, and truth. It already had 800,000 views. And counting. The headlines arrived by noon. Reston police detain federal agent in mistaken identity incident. Undercover operation interrupted, city officials scramble for answers. Who is Talia Monroe? But even those were diluted versions of the truth, carefully crafted to avoid real panic, trimmed down to bureaucratic soundbites. No mention of the rogue data transfer. No word on Asher. Just the standard statements, internal review, liaison changes, ongoing investigation. By the time Chase Lorne was transferred to a secure black site in Quantico, he was already a ghost in the system. No press coverage. No court date. Just gone. Arthur Vexley resigned his post quietly. Health concerns, the report said. The house he once occupied was already empty when the press showed up, cleaned, scrubbed, sanitized. As for Asher, he vanished into the kind of custody where the government stops keeping paper records. But the agent who later met with Talia said one thing: he's cooperating. That was enough. For now. 3 days later, Ryan returned to duty. His patrol routes felt different. Slower. Every stop he made was deliberate. He no longer glanced at IDs and assumed, he looked at people. Listened longer. Thought harder. But Talia was already gone. Back in the wind. A new assignment, somewhere unseen. Her name cleared, her work intact. Her silence weaponized again. She drove the back roads of Virginia with no GPS. Her directions came encrypted, piped through the watch on her wrist and the hum of frequencies only certain ears could detect. The trees blurred past. Her thoughts were already on what came next. At a gas station rest stop, she refilled her thermos. The clerk looked at her twice, like he almost recognized her. Maybe he'd seen the video. Maybe not. She didn't offer anything. Back on the road, her earpiece buzzed. Agent Monroe, the voice said, you're cleared for briefing. Packets ready. Possible drop in Nashville, same network. Could be a test run. Send it, she said. I'll review it in transit. She turned off the main highway early, dipping into a winding residential road. Old habit now. It probably always would be. At the next red light, a little girl crossed with her mother. The child's braids bounced as she walked. The mother looked tired but alert, scanning the cars as they passed. Talia watched them for a moment. Then smiled, barely. There were people out there fighting in courtrooms, on sidewalks, in town halls. And there was value in that. But hers had always been a different kind of war. Silence. Precision. Patience. And this time, she had won, not in headlines, but in consequence. The deeper truth of what happened in Reston would never make the evening news. Yes, people saw the video, shared it, argued over it, dissected it in comment threads. But what they didn't see, what they weren't supposed to see, was the aftermath. They didn't see the secure facility where 6 agent files were duplicated and nearly sold to the highest bidder. They didn't see the network that had been infiltrating infrastructure at a citywide level using nothing but a municipal badge and a series of blind spots. They didn't see the moment Talia Monroe handed over the silver case at a federal checkpoint, sealed and triple authenticated, knowing the contents could have ended lives. They didn't hear the silence that followed the report she filed, or the meeting behind closed doors where men in suits debated whether to protect her, or bury her. But Ryan Donnelly saw. He watched from the sidelines as reality cracked open and swallowed his old assumptions whole. In the days after, his precinct created a new liaison position, a federal coordinator to ensure local police never again interfered with a covert op. And who filled that role? Ryan did. Clean-shaven, straight posture, badge clipped not for show but for substance. Not because he'd been perfect. Because he'd learned. Meanwhile, Talia moved through a world most people never realized existed. Her next assignment was already underway before Reston had finished cleaning up the last of its headlines. She passed border checkpoints without stopping. Entered buildings with no windows. Spoke names that didn't appear in any public records. Slept in safe houses she never stayed in twice. But she also remembered the girl in the red hoodie. The teenager who filmed the entire stop. Who refused to take it down. Who kept asking questions. Somewhere out there, she hoped that girl kept watching, not just her phone screen, but the world. Closely. Critically. Like lives depended on it. Because sometimes, they do. At a hotel 2 states away, Talia parked her SUV behind the building, just shy of the cameras. She walked through the service entrance, entered a private suite, and unzipped the top of her bag. Inside were new files. New names. A flash drive. One of the photos had Asher in the background, again. Different country. Different context. Same threat. She poured a glass of water and stared at the case folder. It never ends, she thought. But you do stop expecting it to. And then, from her earpiece. Agent Monroe, confirmation received. Nashville packet is live. Deployment window in 48 hours. Understood. As the line went dead, she exhaled slowly. Controlled. Ready. Because while others fought their battles in courtrooms or on social media, she fought hers in the shadows. Quietly. Precisely. And sometimes, that silence saved lives before the rest of the world even knew they were at risk. In a world full of assumptions, one wrong stop could have ended everything. But Agent Talia Monroe didn't just survive, she exposed corruption, saved lives, and reminded all of us that identity is not what it looks like on paper, but what you do when it's tested. As she once said, you made a bad call, but you didn't double down on it. That matters. Let that be the takeaway. Don't rush to judgment. Don't assume. Pause. Ask. Listen. Because in that pause, might live someone's second chance. If this story moved you, subscribe to True Echo for more stories that expose injustice, celebrate resilience, and echo the truth. Drop a comment below and share this with someone who needs to hear it. We tell real stories. One voice at a time.